Hey guys, we're back. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. So today I want to be going over my favorite non-legendary Pokemon, which is Tinkaton, and talking about how her stats, abilities, moves, and everything would be if she got a Mega form. So she's my favorite non-legendary Pokemon because I like the trope of one, women being able to take care of themselves and be strong, and instead of being a damsel in distress or needing someone else to always help them. And I also like the trope of like in anime, video games, whatever, of like this little stature woman being able to swing around a big, massive sword or hammer or mace or anything like that. I think it's super cool. Confidence to women. My girlfriend actually goes to the gym every single day. She's probably stronger than I am, but I love the whole concept behind Tinkaton, and I do want to point out that I when I started looking into Tinkaton, when I started playing Scarlet and Violet, I found on YouTube his video from Loxton and Noggin. Makes a 15-minute video about the kind of like his own interpretation of the lore or uh, concept behind the design of Tinkaton, the entire Tinkaton line, and I think that's super cool. He explains that why Tinkaton is gender locked as female in the games, and I like his own interpretation on it. I think he was very creative with it. I really like this video. You should look it up and watch it. It's super cool, and I love the design. So Tinkatink, Fairy Steel typing, insane typing. Two immunities, only super weak to two different typings. Have a lot of resistances. It's a very cool typing. Um, I I like that with each stage of the evolution, it has like a little toy hammer for like a little kid. Then it gets a bigger mace, and then it gets a huge hammer. And if you take a look inside the hammer, you have the little children toy, you have the mace here, and then you have the actual hammer. So it gets bigger and bigger with each evolution. I think that's really cool. Tinkaton is super funny because in the Pokédex entries, um, actually it says right here, you can see that Tinkaton just wants all the smoke on site at all times. Doesn't matter when, wants the smoke at all times. It hates Corviknight for some reason, and I think that's hilarious. Literally put it out of business. So I think that's really funny. I'm hoping so. It doesn't show. Does it? No, it doesn't show. It's shiny, but shiny is super cool. Um, its entire hammer turns rusty. So I think that's a super cool idea for a shiny. It would have been cool maybe if you could have changed some type of coloring on her, but I do really like the idea of a shiny hammer. I think that's creative. But let me see. If we go back, so I want to go over like move sets. I want to go over abilities. I want to go over the stat changes. So I want to talk about it gaining a Mega Evolution. I think it's a perfect candidate to gain a Mega Evolution because it is a fan favorite, I believe, but it is not, I should say, competitively viable. So I never see anyone run Tinkaton for competitive use. And I watch a lot of Pokemon YouTube, and a lot of people actually stray away from her. She doesn't accomplish much. And the reason why she doesn't is because the person that designed or generated the stats for Tinkaton literally butchered her. Because I don't understand how you can be like a 30-pound fairy carrying around a 300-pound hammer and you don't have a high attack stat. That doesn't make any sense to me, and it kind of frustrates me. I just don't like. What are you gonna just like lightly tap me with a hammer, or are you gonna wallop me with a hammer? It doesn't make any sense. Your attack stat should be high. You're a tiny little fairy. Yes, okay, your HP can be low, your defense can be low, whatever. But your attack should be high because you have a 300 or 220 pound hammer. It should hurt really bad, but I don't know. I'm not going to get too much into ranting about that, but they definitely butchered her stats. It just doesn't make any lore. It doesn't make any sense to the lore. She's holding a huge hammer, but the hammer is also, if I remember correctly, made out of parts from Corviknights and Bisharps, if I remember correctly. So that's kind of evil. Like you kill Corviknights and then you turn them into pieces for your hammer. So that's kind of crazy. But I do love the design. I think it's super cute, and I think it could be viable, but we'd have to make some changes, and that's where I think the Mega type or Mega Evolution would come in handy. And I think for the Mega Evolution, I do think it should stay Fairy Steel type instead of changing any typing. But I do have some ideas for an ability change, stat changes, stuff like that. So for the abilities, it really depends on if you would want it to be just a powerhouse, or if you want it to have another immunity. So there's already 2 immunities, and you have fire weakness and ground weakness, which are 2 powerful weaknesses. But to get around that, you have Earth Eater, which is super cool because it's another immunity and restores your HP when you're hit. So that means if you're doing doubles and you use Earthquake, you're only going to benefit from that Earthquake. You're going to hit both of the opponent's Pokemon, and you yourself are going to gain HP. Then you have the other option of Levitate. So Levitate is cool because you're not going to get hit with spikes, toxic spikes, stuff like that. And you have the immunity of ground typing, but that's more of a singles ability. So it would really be up to you on what you think is more a better choice. Levitate would be for singles, and Earth Eater would be for doubles. To make it competitively viable, I think it would need to have Earth Eater. But that's for the ground typings, and that's to get ground immunity. But you also you're weak to fire. So I really do think that this would be a super good option of having a fire immunity using Well-Baked Body. You gain a 3rd immunity. Now you're only weak to ground, and your defense is sharply boosted if you're hit with a fire type move. So that's insane. That would be crazy if that happened. I really do think that you could use something like, I believe Heat Wave hits all opponents or all Pokemon on the field. I might be wrong about that, but I think it does. But moves like that hit the entire field, well, you hit yourself with your own Pokemon. If you're in doubles, you sharply boost your defense, and you can just keep on spamming that. So in my opinion, if you want to keep staying alive, keep on gaining HP in doubles, Earth Eater, you have your other Pokemon use Earthquake, and then Well-Baked Body if you want to have that fire immunity. I think these 2 are super competitively viable options, and then this would be more focused around singles. But I prefer... it's funny, I'm not a super competitive person, and I like gimmicks and tropes and glass cannons, honestly. And I personally think, like, if I was going to build it, and it didn't have to be super competitively viable, I would give it Pure Power. Because, as we saw, its attack stat is bad. It's just bad. It's 75, and with Pure Power, it would boost to 150. If you use Pure Power, you don't have to invest any of your 100 stat points. I don't know if you guys know this. Most people do, but you gain 100 stat points that can be distributed through your stats when you turn into your Mega Evolution. And if you go with Earth Eater or Well-Baked Body, in my opinion, you need to invest like 50 of those new stat points into attack to make it usable, right? And then you can take the other 50 and distribute it where you want. But with Pure Power, you don't have to put anything into attack. Now, the things that you would have to worry about is something like wheezing with neutralizing gas to turn off your ability, so you wouldn't get the attack boost. So now your Pokemon is kind of having a rough time. against wheezing. You would really be relying on that, and that's why it would be kind of a glass cannon. But if you did do pure power, now you have 100 stat points that can be divided among your HP, your defense, your special defense, your speed. So about special attack. So the only reason you probably already know this, but you can take away stat points from each one of your 6 when you turn into a mega to use those points to be divided somewhere else. But the only reason I think special attack is usable on Tinkaton is because it gets Draining Kiss, and Tinkaton getting HP back while having Fairy Stab is good, and I think Draining Kiss is the reason why this could stay here or even go higher than 70. But without Draining Kiss, in my opinion, just go physical. It's a giant hammer. I get it. Go physical. Go attack. Instead of special attack. If it wasn't going to focus on Draining Kiss, man, we could take like 20 away from here and be able to divide it somewhere else. But I do think like it's more of a gimmick, I know, but it would gain, instead of just the Mega Evolution getting 100, it would get 175. Now, some people might say that's unfair, but in my opinion, because Tinkaton already has such a crazy low attack, that giving it pure power to double it would be fair. But I think that might be biased, so I think it having pure power is asking for a little bit much. And I think that's funny because I personally think that Well-Baked Body and Earth Eater are the more competitively viable options because it's going to take away one of your weaknesses and give you another immunity. But I like the gimmick of pure power being able to double that attack stat up to 150. Now, if you did double that, you could give it, I don't know, 25 more in HP, 30 more in defense. That would be great if we gave it 30 more in speed, and give it a little bit of special defense boost. But what's kind of cool too is, so these are the abilities, right, that I just walked through. I want to get into the moves, and the reason why is because your item choices. I want to get to the item choices, but I want to talk about the move set first before we get into that, because I want to talk about Assault Vest being an option because the special defense is so high. So because I like gimmicks, and I would run it in a less competitive way, I personally think that the Mega Evolution of Tinkaton should get Gigaton Hammer. Super crazy, cool designed, cool move. It does have a con to it, which is not being able to be moved twice in a row, but that's perfectly fine. That is not a big con to that, because you can use stuff like Protect right afterwards. But I think it needs Gigaton Hammer. It's going to have Stab, super crazy power, 160 power, 100% accuracy, amazing move, and cool design move too. Play Rough. I think because we would be boosting its attack stat so much that it has to have a physical fairy type move. And sadly, Play Rough is our best option here. So it has 90 power, but only 90% accurate. And what sucks about that is in Pokemon, if it's not 100% accurate, it's 50% accurate. It doesn't matter if this says 90 or 95. It doesn't matter. If it's not 100%, you have such a good chance of missing that attack. From my experiences and a lot of people I know's experiences, it misses all the time for some reason. But I do think it needs to have Play Rough. It's going to have that Stab as a boost. Protect to be able to go. So if you have something that resists Fairy, you don't want to use Gigaton Hammer and then have to go into Play Rough. You can just use Protect yourself, go straight back into Gigaton Hammer the next turn. But the third move that I think is optional, it's just what I would run, but anyone, you can run whatever you want as the, oh, sorry, I said third, as the fourth option, because I do think it needs to have Gigaton Hammer, Play Rough, Protect. But the fourth option, I personally would run Fake Out. I think it's super helpful, especially if we're going to be doubling that attack stat. Having the priority, being able to force a flinch, that's just super, super good. Now you could swap this out with whatever you wanted, like a Thunder Wave, or even if we could give Tinkaton something like, I'm not sure if it would ever get something like Swords Dance, but if it got something like Tidy Up, Tidy Up would be really, really good. Being able to clear the field and be able to get the attack and speed boost, that would be amazing. I would love if Tinkaton could get Tidy Up. I think it'd be a little bit broken because let me check. I do not think it gets Tidy Up. I don't think it gets sword. Oh my gosh, it does get Sword Stance. That's crazy. That gets Sword Stance. So if you wanted even bigger Glass Cannon, you could go Sword Stance, get +2, 2 stages up on that attack stat. Wow, that'd be crazy. But I don't see Tidy Up. I don't see Tidy Up in here. I think it having Tidy Up would be super cool. I would take Tidy Up even over the Sword Stance because it's already going to have a super high attack stat, and you're going to get +1 and +1 on attack and +1 on speed. That speed would be super helpful, and it would be clearing the field for your own Pokemon coming in next from hazards. So I would love if they would give it Tidy Up. I'm asking for a lot, and in my opinion, I'm being super biased about it, but it is my favorite non-legendary Pokemon. So I I would give it this moveset right here, and if it did get Tidy Up, I would swap the Fake Out for Tidy Up. I think that would be super funny to be able to get a Tidy Up and outspeed things and hit it really, really, really hard. But for items, you would not want to use any of the choice items because it's going to lock you into one move. And if you use Gigaton Hammer, you're screwed because you can't use it 2 times in a row. So I wouldn't use any of the choice items. What you could do, because it has a good special defense, is using a Assault Vest. That would mean that you wouldn't be able to use Protect, or you wouldn't be able to use Tidy Up or anything like that. So you'd have to mess with the moveset if you were able to use Assault Vest. But it does have a really good special defense, and that being doubled would be super cool. But the items that you could use, I don't know. I've used Life Orb Tinkaton before, and because it's low HP in defenses, Life Orb does let it hit harder. And if it went into Mega and it got a huge attack boost, I think it'd be cool with Life Orb. But you just have to be able to keep it alive. Sadly, you just have to. You're gonna have, if you take Earth Eater or Well-Baked Body, you're still gonna have one of these super effective moves against you. So I do not like the ability options for this. Yes, Mold Breaker is okay, but I think it could use such a better ability. It would go up to 606 stat points, so a little bit over a pseudo legendary, and I think Tinkaton deserves that for how cool of a Pokemon it is and for how literally no one uses it competitively. I think it would really change everything about this Pokemon. And I don't know, the item is super flexible on what you would be able to use, but you just wouldn't be able to use the choice items is all. That would be up to you. But I did want to show you this. I was looking up images for Mega ideas, and I did find this. I think this is kind of cool because I don't personally think that this would be a good Mega Evolution. I think it'd be an amazing Gigantamax form. Super, super cool Gigantamax form. Don't think it'd be a great Mega. I think it's changing way too much to be a Mega. I think something like this would be a much better version of a Mega Tinkaton. It doesn't change too much and then gives a little bit more into the lore with the goggles and the apron and the gloves and then the super-powered hammer. But I think that would be a better Mega. I think this would be a much better design for a Gigantamax. That's insane as a Gigantamax form. Super cool, creative. I think I've talked about everything. That's my opinion. Keep the Fairy Steel typing. Change the ability to either the competitive version, which is Earth Eater, Well-Baked Body abilities that gain immunity plus another pro by being able to boost your defense or raising HP. I like the Glass Cannon idea, even though it's probably less competitively viable by doubling that attack stat and then being able to distribute the stats differently. I would love to put a lot of stats into the speed, so at least another 36 to round it off to 130, something like that. I'd have to look at a lot of other Pokemon to see what the average modern speed stat is because of power creep. But give it a lot in speed. We gotta distribute some through the defenses. Have to. But sadly, if you would go with the Earth Eater or Well-Baked Body, we're gonna have to put like 50 of that 100 stat points into your attack. Probably take 10 or 20 from the special attack to also throw in there. But yeah, be able to keep it on the field for longer without it dying right away, because it just doesn't have a lot of HP or defense, sadly. But yeah, give it some speed, let it go first. Yeah, I think it'd be super cool. I really do think that they will do a Mega Tinkaton in the future. I would love to see one, just because I do think it's a fan favorite. I do think that it just got a new form in the new Pokemon. What's that Pokemon game called? Pokia. What is it? Let me see. New Pokemon game. Pokopia? Pokopia. Yeah, sorry. I have not played it. It seems like a Pokemon Animal Crossing game. I don't play Animal Crossing. Doesn't seem like my type of game. My girlfriend would love to play Pokemon Pokopia, but we don't have a Switch 2. So maybe we'll get a Switch 2 and I'll buy her Pokopia, and I personally think she would love Pokopia. But yeah, I think Tinkaton gets a new form of some kind. Pokopia Tinkaton. Maybe it doesn't. Did I type that in wrong? No? Huh. I could have swore it did. Oh well. Sorry about that. Let me know if there is actually one, because I thought there was. That images didn't show me anything. But sorry, I'm rambling. I just wanted to talk about my favorite non-legendary Pokemon, and it's Tinkaton. I love this Pokemon. So, alright, well, thanks for listening to me rant about my favorite non-legendary Pokemon. I really appreciate it. And let me know what Pokemon that you would love to see a new Mega Evolution. I'd love to hear what your choice would be. Okay, so I wanted to do a little edit to the video. I've never edited any of my videos. They've been always first take, first try. But I wanted to add something because after I finished the video, I thought about a couple other things that either I didn't get to talk about because I forgot, or I wasn't really putting enough thought into it, and I didn't realize until afterwards. So what I want to do is talk about the items and ability and Tera typing. So I didn't talk about terrestrialization at all. Terrestrializing. So for the more items, held items that you could use, I didn't even think about this, and I'm upset about a couple of these things actually that I didn't even think about it while making the video. I was having such a good time making the video, and I forgot about a couple things. But the items. So air balloon. I don't know why I didn't think about air balloon ahead of time. Air balloon literally gives it the immunity to one of the things that it's weak to, ground. So yes, the air balloon can pop, but at least I have a ground immunity for a moment. That's a really big deal. So now I'm literally only weak to fire. So air balloon would be an amazing item to have it hold, especially if we get into terrestrializing. If you terrestrialize into fire and you're holding the air balloon, well, now you are immune to ground. You have resist fire, and you still get your stab for the Gigaton Hammer. So air balloon would be an amazing defensive item to hold. Something that I thought about just a little bit ago was, I know I said that choice items would be awful to use, but I thought about something. If we would, for the Mega Evolution, if we would invest stat points into the speed by quite a bit, Choice Band would be really, really cool for a reason. Let me explain. Steel type Tera, you get a boost to steel type moves. You hold the item Choice Band. Yes, you're not going to be able to make a second attack, but if you hold the Choice Band, go into steel type Tera, and if we go into the ability I wanted to talk about, which was Steel Worker, I don't know why I didn't think about this earlier. One, it makes so much more sense for the lore of Tinkaton to get Steelworker. She literally makes a giant hammer out of steel. It makes sense. This should be her Mega Evolution ability. I know I was capping on the other abilities. That was just me wanting to make Tinkaton as competitively viable as possible, but it's not accurate to Tinkaton's lore. And I think, even though I don't think a Steelworker is as good as the other ones for her, I think it's so much more accurate to her. And I am totally okay with getting Steelworker as a ability for Tinkaton. Steelworker increases the power of steel type moves used by this Pokemon by 50%. That's a big deal for Gigaton Hammer. And if you combine that with a boost in her attack stats, because me hoping and wishing that she would get pure power, that's just unrealistic. So if we could get Steelworker plus a Choice Band plus a Steel type Tera to stack on top of Stab Gigaton Hammer, who's already hitting crazy hard, that would be insane power. And yes, you could only use it once, and then you would have to switch out. So you'd have to build kind of a defensive team to be able to switch out all the time. But you could one-shot Pokemon over and over and over again, obviously depending on the Pokemon. But the amount of damage that you could be putting out would be amazing to see. I would love it. Glass Cannon, big heavy hitter. Try to go first with that speed stat. I would love to see that. That is my type of Pokemon. I know it might not be the most competitive, but I like gimmicks. So I would love to see that. You use Gigaton Hammer, Choice Band, maybe one-shot something. You'd be forced to switch out because now you can't click nothing else. But as far as defensive, though, I think the air balloon item and then changing your Tera to something. So like fire, if you go into fire, it's going to be resisting fire. If you were going to get one-shotted by a fire move, flying type. I didn't think about this, but flying would be great. Go into flying, now you don't get hit by earthquake, and you pop off a Gigaton Hammer or play rough or something like that. I think for competitive reasons, a defensive Tera would be really, really good. I think that's how it would normally be used. Maybe a fire type Tera to resist fire, and then air balloon as a held item. I think that's how most people would try to competitively run Tinkaton. But for my playstyle, the love of the gimmick, I would just like to see that attack stat go up, that speed stat go up, run a Choice Band, run Steel type Tera, and have the ability Steelworker. Now that I realize Steelworker ability, I don't think there's any other ability that Tinkaton should be having. I think lore-wise, the benefit from it having Gigaton Hammer, I think it's literally perfect. But yeah, I just wanted to bring this up. I didn't even mention Tera typings. And I mean, we're in Scarlet Violet. I think that was a mess up of mine to not even mention Teras. But I wanted to bring up this ability. I wanted to bring up the Tera typings. And I wanted to bring up some more item options. But I've just had such a fun time making this video about my favorite non-legendary Pokemon. So, all right, just wanted to throw that in there. Thanks, guys.